At long last, after all the merging and the hiring and the reorganizations, we are now going to look at the logos of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. I hope you are as excited as I am. But now things are about to be more complicated, so strap on your seatbelts and keep your hands and legs inside your chair at all times, because this is a logo roller coaster you are not going to soon forget. Here is the evolution of the MGM logo in its entirety, from 1924 to the present day. During the Goldwyn Pictures explanation, I mentioned the many distinct aspects of the logo and how it bears a stark resemblance to the current MGM logo we know and love today. Now I will finally get to the reasons as to why these elements were incorporated into the logo. First, we have the lion. The lion was chosen as the movie picture studio's mascot because of the designer of the logo itself. Howard Dietz, who was a publicist, lyricist, and librettist, damn, what a jack of all trades, decided to tribute his alma mater, Columbia University, whose team is called the Lions. Perhaps that could have been the result of Goldwyn associating his company with Columbia University. Remember when I mentioned that? Huh? Anyway, the lion serves to tribute the university. The film strips are self-explanatory, as it is a film company. The drama mask represents the theater and dramatic performance, which makes sense considering MGM's output, and the olive branches could be symbolic of peace and or artistry. Now, the motto, Ars Gratia Artis, was also given to the company by Dietz. In English, the Latin phrase translates to art for art's sake, which also makes sense given the company created movies because they believed they had the potential to change the world and all that jazz. Fun fact, Howard Dietz also coined the phrase more stars than there are in heaven to denote MGM's large catalog of actors and actresses they hired during their golden age. The only aspect of the logo that remains is the most obvious feature. The Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer wording on the bottom is very self-explanatory. At least for the first variant, it's interesting how the font differs with each word, indicating that the company is the result of 3 different companies working together. Dietz did have a hand in designing the logo, but the way the logo appears in physical space can be credited to another graphic artist, Lionel S. Rice. Fitting how he would be responsible for Leo the Lion, given that his name is freaking Lion-ol. Anyways, now that we have all the elements in place, it's time to talk about the first variant of the logo. Now, the best way to tell the variants apart if you're new to the MGM logo game is to figure out which lion is inhabiting the logo. Each lion has their own name and have different physical characteristics. They also perform specifically different actions in each logo variant. So for the first one, we have the silent lion Slats, whose name was mentioned earlier. This is the confirmed version of Slats, who was originally raised in the Dublin Zoo and whose original name was Carbra. Slats represents the MGM movies of the silent era, since all he does in the logo is move his head around in a somewhat friendly fashion. It's like you're actually at the zoo. This variant was in use from 1924 to 1928, when the second MGM lion appeared and roared his way into fame. 1928 saw the introduction of the second MGM lion, whose name was Jackie. Jackie holds the distinction of being the first MGM lion to roar, thus indicating the extent of MGM's creativity with the logo. The MGM roar would forever be a part of the logo and would be the logo jingle. More on the roar later. In these variants, Jackie roars several times and then looks to its left before fading out. There are also several interesting variants of the logo that I found while perusing through the MGM logo histories available on CLG Wiki and elsewhere. There's a cartoon version of Jackie that was made for the MGM Cartoons production arm of MGM, which I may explain in more detail in a future video. There's also a colorized version of the Jackie logo. Finally, there's the Silver Anniversary variant in which MGM celebrates their 25th anniversary of their founding. On a fancy napkin, no less. Yes, we are indeed celebrating the prodigious 25-year anniversary of MGM. We will also have an open bar and some fancy seafood dinner items. Fun fact, this was the lion featured on The Wizard of Oz, so I'm sure that's an honor for Jackie to be included in such a culturally relevant and influential film. Other fun fact, this lion is indestructible. Apparently the lion survived several accidents, including one where the studio was on fire due to an explosion. His other nickname was Leo the Lucky. This logo was in regular use until 1953. However, other lions were introduced simultaneously with Jackie, though for temporary amounts of time. Around this time, MGM was experimenting with two-strip Technicolor technology after already pioneering the technology in previous movies. Because of this, MGM created two new two-strip Technicolor variants of the MGM logo. The first new variant features the third official MGM lion, whose nickname was Telly. Telly only had a short run as the lion of the MGM logo, lasting for 4 years and appearing in all color productions of MGM until 1932. This MGM lion appears more aggressive, with its face pointed downward and its mouth constantly in the middle of a snarl. In addition, its mane is ridiculous. This seamlessly will transition into our next variant. The second MGM two-strip Technicolor lion was named Coffee. What a unique name that is, and was also used for a limited time. Having a run of only 3 years, Coffee was also utilized for all MGM color films until around 1935, when MGM transitioned from the two-strip Technicolor process to the three-strip Technicolor process. Like with Telly in the previous variant, this lion also appears aggressive and roars with might into the camera. Though beyond that, there is not much to say about Coffee, except that he looks like he might eat your freaking face off if you're not looking. And now, let us introduce perhaps the most aggressive MGM lion of them all. Give it up for the rough, the tough, the teeth-bearing monster that is... When MGM transitioned to the three-strip Technicolor process, another lion was required to showcase the process. With that came the debut of Tanner, the third longest MGM lion to be used as a logo, after the current lion, which will be discussed very soon, and Jackie, which we already discussed. It is important to note that in between variants, starting from Slats to Tanner, not much has changed in terms of the details surrounding the lion. The film strips and mask may have been slightly redesigned, but the marquee and everything else remains intact. Tanner assumes the role as a rather dominant and upfront lion, in which he takes up almost the entirety of the circle made by the film strips. In addition, his roar and his expressions definitely make him stand out in comparison to the other lions used, which were for the most part more laid back and controlled. Except for Coffee. Coffee ate Coffee before doing his run. In addition, Tanner wiggles his head to the right and to the left, which also makes him stand out in comparison to the other lions which mostly stood in place. Tanner also was used for the MGM Cartoons logo around the same time, and color me impressed at the color scheme of this logo. Very nice. There are not many variants of Tanner to consider, except for one major change, which will be outlined in the next variant of the MGM logo. Both of these logo variants still use Jackie and Tanner, though the logo presentation is remarkably different. Instead of the regular marquee that is somewhat awkwardly placed below the lion, we now see the lion and the film strips at the center of the screen, with the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer banner curving above the logo in a rather fancy and recognizable font. This font would be used up to the present-day variant of the logo, and the rest of the accoutrements associated with the logo would be recycled to the time of the present lion, which again will be discussed very soon. Promise, I swear. In addition, the variant makes use of shrewd coloring, in which the M, G, and M parts of the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer wording are all colored with a crimson red, which actually adds to the fancy aesthetic of the logo. Side note, this logo was adapted for a widescreen aspect ratio as MGM also adopted the CinemaScope process, which was discussed in my previous episode. This logo was in use between 1953 and 1956, when both Jackie and Tanner were retired for another temporary lion. Jeez, all these lions, you'd think people would be confused already with Jackie, Tanner, Coffee, and Telly. brace yourself for our next variant. This new variant, introduced in 1956, contains the most hairy-maned lion of the entire MGM lion roster. Perhaps the lion had a bad mane day. At any rate, his name was George. This lion also did not last very long, though it did appear in both color and black and white movies made by MGM. This particular lion roars to the right, then roars at the camera before fading out into the opening credits. Most of the time, the lion roars were either recycled recordings of the lion roars made during the Jackie and Tanner era of the film studio. Sometimes you can barely hear George's roar over the music of the film in question. The only other George variant I can recall is a blue variant that features George, but the general idea is the same. I guess they were inspired by Picasso in his blue period. Whew! That was a lot of lions. But now, it gets easier from here. Before I get to the current version and visit our familiar pal Leo, let's quickly review the lions we have seen so that you'll be able to see how the lions appeared in chronological order. In total, we looked at 6 lions. The first was Slats, who appeared in 1924 and stopped appearing in 1928. The second was Jackie, who had the second longest tenure as being MGM Lion. He appeared in 1928 and vanished in 1953. In between Jackie's reign were 2 temporary lions. The first was Telly, who appeared in 1928 and stopped appearing in 1932. He was the third lion. The second was Coffee, who appeared in 1932 and disappeared in 1935. He was the fourth lion. Jackie was used in conjunction with Tanner, who appeared in 1934 and was in use until 1953. He had the third longest tenure as the MGM Lion. Tanner was the 5th MGM Lion. After some time being in widescreen and in a renovated logo, Tanner and Jackie were replaced with another temporary lion, George. George was introduced in 1953 and disappeared in 1958. He was the 6th lion. Now, it is time to introduce the 7th and most recognizable lion of the MGM Lion bunch. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the ever-popular lion, back by popular demand,